Welcome to another edition of Tuck Talk. I am Bob Ferranti, filling in for Arya Masudi as host. Arya is on assignment in the coming week here. He's got Florida State women's basketball, tennis over at the Scott Spiker Tennis Center. So giving him a little bit of a break here. And we just want to do kind of a fun podcast as Florida State's going to get back on the court Saturday against Wake Forest. And going to bring you a fun interview we had that I did with the Green Vipers. So this is Justin Lindner, Travis Light, Harrison Prieto, Will Miles. The Green Vipers, as a lot of you know, they are the scout team, the practice team. But I think it's cool that they don't view themselves as just the guys who support or are practice players. These guys are a critical piece of the program as far as helping redshirt players, as far as emulating an opponent. They are really critical as far as understanding what the opponent does and then bringing that to the court. They cheer courtside. They can call out the star players on Florida State and give them advice and tell them what they're doing wrong. And they are very much, if you listen to them, they are coaches courtside, and they are helping out the Florida State staff and Leonard Hamilton. So, as Florida State comes back to the court, again, as we said, Saturday, going to play Wake Forest, a team that's really, really struggling. Ari and I felt like this wasn't a matchup that we really needed to deeply analyze. The Demon Deacons are really struggling. They're a sub 500 team. It's going to be coming to the Donald L. Tucker Center on Saturday. It's not the best of matchups, but I think this is a good kind of warm backup matchup for Florida State. The Seminoles are going to be coming off this pause, this second pause. It's unfortunate, but it is the reality of college basketball this year. So, yeah, some games have been missed. This will be the first time the Seminoles will play in 2 solid weeks since that loss up at Georgia Tech. But the Seminoles got back on the court to practice on Wednesday. That's a good thing. How many guys will be able to play on Saturday will remain a question mark until warm-ups and when we see them on the court. But this is the kind of game when you play Wake Forest, if you had to draw it up, it's the kind of game that you want to dip back into the schedule with, especially when you consider that you've got a really quick turnaround for a big Monday game against Virginia. So what makes this ideal again is you're not playing all of the guys, all the starters, say 30 plus minutes. The minutes can really be spread out amongst the depth of the roster. Now, I think it is cool timing to talk to the Vipers because they are really fan favorites. And I think a lot is understood of their story. I think it's really cool. Again, we talk about this in part in the interview. A guy like Malik Osborne just goes nuts on the sideline, is so thrilled when the Vipers are in the game and just watching them, pass and shoot and score. And they're closing out a win, but I think it's so fun to see. This is the college basketball, the Florida State basketball version of the victory formation. Instead of a quarterback taking a knee, and it's kind of anticlimactic, we're seeing guys on the basketball court just having fun, and it's a great reward for them for all their hard work, day after day, and really being so supportive of so many players within the program and helping out the coaches too, that they get to have these moments that are really special. And so we talk about a variety of things. And as I mentioned, they all have bachelor's degrees. They have all stuck it out, and they're playing basketball while they're in grad school. If you think about how demanding that is to go through grad school and to still take time to be committed to playing basketball. So I really hope you enjoy this interview. Again, it's Justin Lindner, Travis Light, Harrison Prieto, Will Miles. They're the Green Vipers. And thanks again for listening to Talk Talk. We appreciate it so much. All right, we welcome in the Green Vipers via Zoom. We have Harrison Prieto, Travis Light, Will Miles, Justin Lindner. Gentlemen, I think to start, first thing we have to say is we have all 4 gentlemen here who play basketball. They are college grads. They all have their bachelor's degree. They're all in grad school. I'm going to maybe start with the guys left to right on my Zoom screen here. Harrison, tell us a little bit about meteorology. What what fascinates you there, and then why Florida State? I mean, and when you're looking around at schools between what you wanted to study and basketball, what was important to you?
Yeah, so obviously I have my undergrad degree in meteorology and then going on for my graduate school degree now. I guess the why meteorology question, it goes back to as long as I can remember. I remember being fascinated about it, the weather as a kid. But, the main thing that happened was I'm from right around New Orleans, a place called Mandeville, Louisiana, and we stayed through Katrina and everything. And that whole event, I think, really sparked my interest, if that makes sense, and kind of made a passion out of it. And then when it came time to look for colleges, Florida State stood out to me. They've got a great program here. I like the school, the campus, and everything. And so I wanted to get out of Louisiana. They don't really have many good programs for meteorology around there, and so it just seemed like the right fit for me.
Okay, very good. Travis, what about you?
So I'm from Virginia. Graduated from high school, though. I went to Montverde Academy. Graduated from there in Orlando, Florida. Went to boarding school for a year. But so how I kind of ended up at Florida State, it's kind of like a luck of chance, kind of. I did a prep year after my senior year of high school at IMG Academy in Bradenton. And I was teammates with Jonathan Isaac there. And after that year, I had a couple looks from low D1 schools, academic schools, but no offers. So it was late July, early August, going into what would be my freshman year at college. And I had nothing really. And so me and my dad were talking, and we were just probably looking at going to like a JUCO for a year or two and trying to find something after that. And one of my coaches from back home in DC that I'd worked with since I was young called me. I was kind of like, what are your plans? What are you doing? And I was like, I don't got much right now. I'm probably going to try to find a JUCO or something to go to. And he was like, okay, let me make some calls real quick. And 30 minutes later, he calls me back. He's like, okay, Leonard Hamilton's going to call you in like 20, 30 minutes. So stay by the phone. And so me and my dad talked to him. He said he wanted to help me out, see what he could do. He's like, it's late though, so I can't make any promises. And I ended up being able to get into school here and join the team as a walk-on, and kind of the rest is history. But I graduated here with an undergrad in business management, and I'm getting my master's right now in business administration.
All right, very cool. Will Miles, you're up next.
All right, so I'm from Orlando, Florida, and I kind of have a personal connection to Florida State. My dad played here back in the 80s. My uncle played here back in the 90s. And then my grandpa before them was here for about a year and played here. So I kind of had that family connection. But I, kind of like Travis, I kind of got lucky in my situation. I was just going to come here and be a student. I really wasn't planning on playing college basketball. I had broken my wrist, I think, AAU season, right before AAU season going into my senior year, and that's normally when you would get recruited. So I kind of just said I'll be a regular student, and that's what I was planning on. And then right before, I think it was a district home game, my coach, my high school coach, gets up and writes on the whiteboard. He said FSC walk-on, and he had told me that Coach Jones had called him and asked if I wanted a spot, which, of course, I was happy to take, and I definitely made the right decision in that. But then about academically, I just graduated with my undergrad in finance, and now I'm getting my master's in finance, and I'll be graduating from that this spring.
All right, Justin, you're up.
Very nice, guys. I'm happy to, hear my good friends talk about themselves. So I just came in. I was looking at several different schools. I came and visited Florida State, and I really liked the campus, and I wasn't thinking I was going to play basketball, so I was just going to come here for school. And my coach kind of knew Coach Jones because he's from Memphis as well. So I was able to get like a walk-on tryout. So me and Harrison had like a late walk-on tryout, probably in around October, our freshman year. And after both of us were able to have our tryout, we were picked out of the 2 out of the 4 people that were there, and we got added to the team. So that was pretty cool. But undergrad, I did mathematics because I was hoping to be like a high school basketball coach and math teacher. But recently I've decided to change over, and I want to be a college basketball coach now. So I'm doing my master's in sports management right now, and I'll be finishing up this summer.
It's good to be the dumbest guy in the room, because I'm surrounded by guys who have bachelors and have aspirations and pursuing masters. So this is good. Hey, I'm curious. I should know this answer, but Green Vipers. How did the nickname come about? Did it exist before you guys got here, or was it something that you guys came up with?
So we originally were just the green team. They had whenever we do scout stuff, they would give us green pennies because we have a reversible garnet and gold. But to kind of differentiate us, we would wear the green pennies. And I think that was our first year. And then the second year, Turk and Raekwon and Anthony joined. They redshirted, so they joined the green team, and they had both played AAU with the Florida Vipers. So they kind of mashed names together and we became the Green Vipers.
So is that just something that you guys have embraced? I mean, it is a really cool name to have. Is it to just kind of maybe take on a personality of its own from there, maybe?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I was waiting on someone else to jump in, but
okay.
Yeah, definitely, it's a cool name. I believe it was our sophomore year. We were still with Raekwon and Anthony, and we still had our green pennies on. I think it was like maybe November, December in the season, and Coach Gates just walked in with a cardboard box, and like in the middle of practice, and they're like, "All right, Green, like get your pennies." And he was like, we ran over to him and like undid a cardboard box, and they were like custom like Nike practice jerseys with like the Viper logo, and it said Green Vipers, and I think we're all pretty excited to see that.
I guess I'd be curious what the role is that you guys have in practice. Maybe I'll throw this one to Harrison, or if anybody else wants to jump in after that. But yeah, I mean, what's the role of the Vipers in practice? What are you guys aiming to do? Are you trying to simulate an opponent? Is it part player development for other guys? What's the role?
I think the role, one, has changed over the years, and two, it changes depending on the time of season. So, I mean, when we first got here to Florida State, our first year, it was very minimal. We weren't jumping into a lot of drills, just kind of learning the ropes. As we've gotten further in, we do full participation. Everything everybody does, we do. There's pretty much no difference. And once we get towards the end of practice, especially during the season, at that point, the last 15 to 20 minutes of practice, we'll do an offensive scout where we will run the other team's plays. And at that point, we're all just trying to get buckets. So Justin's throwing up shots, Travis is throwing up shots, Will's throwing up shots. And we're trying to train the three new guys, Cleveland, Max, and Isaac, kind of how to do it. But so, yeah, we'll do that. And then other times we'll play defense that the other teams play, like their schemes and stuff. That way, kind of scholarship guys can get as many reps as possible against, a good look for the other team.
Yeah, so I'll try and tag along with Harrison. Like when we first came in here, Coach Jones kind of told us the one thing that a walk-on always does, he doesn't want to slow down practice. So we were just supposed to be in there to, keep practice going, not to mess anything up, and kind of just keep the offense and defense flowing, not trying to mess anything up. But nowadays it kind of seems like we're just a scholarship player because we go in regular reps. They have 3 groups instead of 2 groups now and all that type of thing. And then by the end of practice, our new thing is we have to cover the spread. So each time we have the scouting report, we try to score at least 10 points on them. So we usually get maybe 10 possessions total. So we just try to get at least 10 points every time so we can talk trash to them that we got there. We gave them buckets.
So do you guys have a specific player that you take under your wing, say a freshman or a newcomer? Are you assigned to somebody in particular? Or is it maybe more just a group thing where you're all just kind of looking out for each other?
I'll hop in on this one. It has been in the past. Every year we kind of normally it's someone that's redshirting. So our freshman year, it was Fiondu, Kevin Jelly. Our sophomore year, it was Raekwon Gray and Anthony Polite. And then our junior year, it was Malik Osborne. And then the last 2 years, we didn't have a redshirt last year. And then this year, because of COVID, everyone gets this year back, so there's no redshirts. Which, we don't really mind because that just means more shots for us and more buckets for us to get. We don't have to defer to the scholarship player, but it definitely is something that the coaches kind of entrust in us, where if you have a guy that maybe is redshirting his freshman year, and we, as we have gotten older, have kind of become an extension of the coaching staff because we've been here so long, and they kind of trust us to bring these guys along and help them understand other teams' schemes and their defenses. And that way, when they're out of the redshirt season, they're almost a little bit of a step ahead because they get to see it from a different perspective.
Also, we all are different positions. So, we all take our position group and talk to them each game. So I take the point guards, Travis takes the shooting guards, and Will, small forwards type, and Harrison takes the big men. So we all can talk to them throughout the game and tell them what they're doing well, what they're not doing well. And the same goes for practice as well.
Yeah, and I mean, even down to watching film with some of the new guys to make sure they understand what's going on. Tenor, for example, at the beginning of the season, would come to me and ask about film, watch film with me, just to check in and see, what can I get better? Because, I mean, you want to talk about a guy who so far has just made an unbelievable improvement. You go watch his game film from the beginning of the season to what he's been doing now, and it looks like a different player. So I think that's something else we provide is kind of just 5 years of a knowledge base of what it takes to play college basketball. We ran every system in the country probably. I think if you told us to go run Carolina's plays, we could go do it. If you asked us to go run Virginia's plays, we'd go do it. We wouldn't have to look at the plays. It's just so we can kind of provide that little bit of knowledge base to everybody else, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So, I mean, Justin, it sounds like this kind of experience makes you want to become a coach. I mean, you've got that foundation of, again, running various ACC offenses, defenses, whatnot. Did this whole experience just kind of spark a further interest in basketball, maybe?
Definitely. When I came into college, I feel like my knowledge for basketball was probably not even 1/3 of what I have now. And now that we have COVID, we have our chairs spread out on the bench, and we're able to stand up and be kind of close to the coaches. So we've had a chance to kind of be coaches, because me and Travis and Will and Harrison, we all stand up and get close to the coaches. So we see firsthand what's going on, and we've been in huddles for 5 years. So I just basically know what it takes to be a big time coach nowadays. So it's really excited me for what I have in my future.
Adrian Crawford was on the podcast a couple weeks back, and he mentioned, you specifically, you were comfortable kind of calling out Trent Forrest at times. I'm sure you guys all do it at separate times, but can you maybe just speak to the culture that everybody's comfortable, whereas at other schools, maybe they're not comfortable with a Green Viper type yelling at a star point guard type? It maybe just wouldn't work at another school, but at Florida State, that's something that's really accepted and comfortable just as far as helping everybody grow.
Yeah. I mean, ever since I got here, Coach Ham has instilled culture and how he wants to be able, 1 through 19, he wants everyone to be able to call each other out. Normally it doesn't matter what you're seeing, he doesn't really care. And he's instilled that since day one. So as we've gotten older, we get to know the system more. We feel like we're comfortable. We can say whatever we want at any time. So that's just kind of what Coach Ham and the whole coaching staff has instilled in all of us. And, it's kind of trickled down.
Yeah, I also think there's a level of respect that the guys have had over the years for sure, because I don't think we're like a normal walk-on group in the sense that we've got size, we've got a point guard. I think if you put the four of us and give us one of the new guys, new walk-ons, and put us up against any walk-on group in the country, I think we'd beat them by 20, 30. We'd go to town on them. So I think there's a level of respect to say, these guys aren't, 5'10" dudes that can't really play. Will's 6'6", Trav's 6'5", I'm 6'8", Justin 6'1", and we've all got good skills. So I think that helps us and gives us a little validity on top of our knowledge base when we're making hot call outs.
How much pride do you guys take? Like you mentioned earlier, you take a redshirt guy under your wing. When you see a Fiondu, a Raekwon Gray had a redshirt year, Anthony Polite, I'm sure there's a ton of examples. But how much do you appreciate just seeing the growth of a guy like that who's willing to take a red shirt and just develops over time, and you guys get to be a part of that? What does that kind of thing mean to you all?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely huge and kind of gratifying for us. It's not like we have a huge part in it. We're just, along for the ride. But seeing a guy like Fee or even Raekwon Gray, where they started at their redshirt year to where they are now is just kind of awesome. And knowing where they came from, not only like physically how they've changed through that time, but like mentally. 'Cause, during redshirt years, a lot of guys kind of get down and not really sure as to what their role is going to be in the future and stuff like that, and might have negative thoughts. And just seeing that they can go from that to where they are now is pretty great.
Let me throw out a guy, MJ Walker's coming up on 1,000 career points, which I think is a really cool achievement because it shows consistency over longevity of a career. But he was a guy coming in, I think a lot of the national types maybe thought this guy might be on campus 1 year, 2 year, whatnot. I'm curious about the evolution of his game, maybe how you've seen MJ just develop from, I don't know, the early points that you might have seen him year one to, what he's really shown, the comfort that he's shown on the court the last couple of years.
I think probably one of the most striking differences in MJ from year one to now, and it's what I'm probably most impressed with, and I think NBA scouts should be most impressed with, is his mental growth and the way he thinks the game, plays with his teammates. It's really impressive. I don't know if anybody else wants to hop in on that, but that's what I'm most proud of with him.
Yeah. I think when he came in, he's always been known as he could score anything. He was just had that tenacity about him. He was just a crazy good basketball player. But as he's gone along over the years, his game has really matured and he's been able to impact the game in so many different ways, more than just scoring. Like you saw in the Louisville game, someone at our school hasn't got 10 assists in a long while. And he's a shooting guard, not normally known for passing, and he was able to get 10 assists. That just shows the growth of his game. He's no longer just, a scorer and defender, but he's expanding his game. His decision-making has improved. And just overall, his maturity, his ability to be a leader this year has been very good for us as well. So it's just been really cool to see him grow from year one when he came in.
One of the other things I'm curious about, and you guys might have an interesting perspective, is just it seems like a lot of ACC schools, and maybe a lot is a wrong words to use, depth is not a thing for a lot of programs. They like to play 7-8 guys. Those are the guys that a coach trusts. Whereas, Florida State and a lot of successful programs, 1 through 18, that's the motto. Do you kind of scratch your heads? And I'm not asking you to be critical, but you kind of just scratch your heads at the philosophical, coaching style of, I'm just going to use my 7 or 8 or 9 versus, the Florida State philosophy?
I'd say in a little bit, but I think, in defense of those coaches that might only play 7 or 8 or 9, it's hard to replicate what we do. Like, it's incredibly hard to get 12, 13 guys that can all go in and make a major impact on the game and that can share playing time and that can be good teammates. Like, that's not something you really do overnight. It's something that, even our freshman year, we weren't great at. It's something that we've kind of cultivated along with the culture as to everyone understand the roles, that if we're winning, everyone gets their equal opportunities to shine. And so that kind of just shows how much of the groundwork the coaches put in recruiting those types of players that can be in that system and coaching those players because it can be tough sometimes if you having to share minutes and you feel like you deserve more minutes. But the thing is they're constantly instilling that vision that if you perform at your highest ability in the limited windows you have, that you're gonna be fine. You're gonna be eaten one day, just as your other teammate's gonna be eaten one day. So it's really eye-opening for us, just even beyond basketball, of if you're trying to build an organization of any type, that it's a good kind of system to have, but it's hard to replicate for sure.
Yeah, that's one thing I'll have to give Coach Ham a lot of credit for. He can really manage egos very well. If you see a lot of other teams, they have bickering, so many different problems that cause them to lose games. And I think Coach Ham, ever since we got here, has done a pretty good job of being able to manage so many different mindsets, so many different egos all at once, coming into one school, for the ultimate purpose of winning and being able to play 12, 13 guys. That's really hard, and not many schools can do it. So I really got to give Coach Ham credit for that one.
Do you guys, as we kind of wrap up here, do you have, and maybe I'll start with Harrison. I think one of the memorable games you played last year was up at Wake Forest where, you had some significant minutes there. And I can't recall if it was injury or foul trouble, but I think you played about 10 minutes, had some big points and boards there. When you have a chance like that to really contribute and help the team win, I mean, how does that kind of moment feel and carry with you?
I think, like, specifically the Wake Forest game, there's definitely nerves when you get into that situation at first 1 or 2 minutes, but after that, and you settle down and you start getting tired, and you kind of get lost in the details of the game, and at that point it's second nature, because I've played basketball for 16 years now, so it becomes second nature, and you do what you do in practice every day. You are who you consistently what you consistently do. So that's kind of, I got a couple boards and putbacks, and that's what I'm trying to do in practice, trying to play good defense, stay in front of guards that are quicker than me. And I don't know. I think the moment doesn't hit you in that situation until after you've done it. There's not like you don't have time to look around and be like, oh, wow, this is cool, I'm in an ACC basketball game. It's after the fact, after the game, celebrating with your teammates, and they're all giving you credit and stuff. Like, that's kind of the thing that you'll never forget, not so much the actual time that you played.
Okay, so Travis, what about you too? I mean, you think about some of your favorite memories when you're on the court there closing out wins. What's been some favorite, just shots or wins or memories?
I'd always say last year against Miami, hitting the back-to-back threes. Obviously, it's an exciting moment, all your hard work kind of paying off in the game. But, honestly, like, for people in practice, around our team, they know it's, like, not much of a surprise. Like, Justin driving, getting in the paint, kicking out to me for a three. And the next play again, Justin, anytime in practice when I hit a shot, he's always looking for me, like, the next couple of plays. So, and him able to break the defense down and kick out to me. It's just fun for us to be able to do it in, like, a real game, because – like many people in the program know, we do it day in and day out in practice. So it's just really rewarding and a good feeling to be able to do it in the game.
Okay, same thing you, Will. What favorite memories or games or wins?
Well, my favorite memory is probably when Travis hit the back-to-back threes too, because they were going nuts when that happened. No, but honestly, there's not really a single memory you can kind of take away from it. It's fun every time we get in the game, but I'd say the most recent and the most fun for me, or something that I'll kind of always remember, is like when I went in the game the other night and got the reverse layup. The thing I remember about it is just looking over to the bench and seeing all of our teammates up cheering for us, going crazy on the sideline. And that's what I'm going to remember. Like, I'm not going to remember the ball going through the hoop. I'm going to remember all their faces happy for us, just like we're happy for them when they score.
Yeah, Malik Osborne's reaction, I think, when you guys are doing good things late in the game is just really priceless and kind of emblematic of the culture. He's always on the Jumbotron. I think they know to have the camera on him. Okay, Justin, what about you?
Yeah, like Will said, the number one fun thing for me is looking over at that bench and seeing them go crazy. And but I also do like to throw lobs and to get my teammates involved. So it's good to see all my teammates score. And I liked it when Harrison got a dunk at Georgia Tech in the past, and they got really mad at us for that. I liked it when I got, Travis, those 2 threes. And then that reverse layup for Will was pretty lit too, because, it had been a long time coming. He deserved it. And, me personally, I liked my 3 versus Clemson Hezzy Pole last year. They can't stop me. I'm just kidding. But, yeah, so basically, I mean, all the times we get in, I love it when the crowd's rocking. One of the most memorable, loudest experiences we've had is when we played Louisville last year when we beat them at home. It was just rocking in that gym. And when we got in at the end of the game, it just seemed like the walls were going to come off or something. And when Harrison capped off the game with that block, it just seemed like it was a different atmosphere, and it was one of the happiest times after when we won the ACC championship as well.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. I mean, seeing the banner come down after you guys, beat Boston College to finish it off there. Did you know that, to any of you guys, did you guys know that the banner was there? And I mean, just how special was it? Because when we look back at it, I think we'll look back at the season and say, well, there was no March Madness, but I do think you guys did have that afternoon and those memories with the home fans to bringing down the banner. Maybe just a couple of you guys want to recall just that day and what it all meant to you guys.
I mean, yeah, specifically about the banner, I think we all knew it was up there because you could see it rolled up, and we knew obviously what it was going to be. And we knew that if we won that game, we were going to do one of our first goals that we were, set out to do at the beginning of the season. And I think if we get to play in the ACC tournament, we get to play in the NCAA tournament, I think we complete the next 2 goals and we win both of them. That last year's team was unbelievable. But I think there's a little bit of peace that we can all come to in the sense that, like, we did everything we could last year. So it's kind of weird, but yeah, that was a great night. I mean, great evening with the fans and stuff. Experiencing, cutting down the nets. Can't beat it.
Yeah, just kind of piggyback on what Harry said. I mean, obviously last season's always going to be kind of like a what if season. Like, what would have happened if, everything didn't get canceled. But just that night after beating Boston College, or like the moments like right after beating it, is something I'll never forget. Just how happy we were for each other and also for our coaches, because we know how hard they work. And as much as the coaches say it's not about them, it's always nice seeing them going up on the ladder and cut down the nets and seeing Coach Hammond, Coach Jones, and all of them smile. It was something I'll definitely never forget.
Yeah, one thing I'll comment on was our coaches have been telling us, Coach Jones always used the hashtag winners win, and CY always talks about how when you win a championship, everyone eats no matter what, whether you're on the basketball court or in real life. So he's always told us walk-ons, if we can have the ability to win an ACC championship or win a national championship, we're going to get jobs down the road. And so he likes to mess around. He said, Justin's going to have a head coaching job. Will's going to own his own business. Travis is going to have his own business. Harrison's going to be a meteorologist somewhere. So when winners win, I guess, that coming to fruition kind of let us know, we're going to be in the history books at FSU for years to come. And, we're going to win and be able to eat off the court as well.
Are you guys kind of a friendship or a brotherhood that you think, years and years down the road, you might get together for reunions or something? It seems like this is a really close-knit group, you guys, in particular, the Green Vipers.
This is all just kind of a front we're putting up for the interview. We really all hate each other. It's a strictly basketball relationship only.
I live with Will, but I'm about to go into his room and tell him to clean up downstairs. He left it a mess. I'm angry with him right now, so.
No, but for real, these guys are definitely going to be, they're going to be my groomsmen at my wedding. It's something that I know Travis is going to be in Virginia next year. Justin will, probably be either head coach or assistant coach somewhere next year. And and then Harrison, will be either in Tallahassee next year or wherever, his path takes him. But it's something that we're always going to stay in touch. Whenever we're in each other's cities, we're definitely going to stop by, get dinner, and all that.
All right. Well, I think that's a good place to wrap it up. Maybe we'll get you guys on the podcast down the road. Long run into March Madness, maybe for the Seminoles. But special thanks for Chuck Walsh from Sports Info for getting us together. Thank you to Harrison Prieto, Travis Light, Will Miles, Justin Lindner, the Green Vipers. You'll probably be seeing them in the last couple minutes on Saturday when Florida State closes out Wake Forest. Thanks for joining us, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks again for listening to Talk. We appreciate it so much.